it comes to making a decision, I feel like we are in an epidemic of indecision in the world we live in today, and for a couple of different reasons. It's crazy to me, like it's that one sermon that you want to share with every human being.
The big crux of it was exactly what you just said, is that I have an extremely hard time making decisions, and Christians specifically won't make decisions because we want God to make our decisions for us.
Right.
Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Chad Sabalka here with Burning the Ships, and as always, I'm joined by my brother in Christ, Garrett Townsend. How are you doing today, bro?
What's up, dude? It's Friday, bro.
It is Friday.
We usually do these on a Wednesday, but it's Friday.
It's our typical middle of the week thing, but the weekend is here. Spring has sprung. The weather outside is awesome. We got a lot of sun. Golf season's coming up.
It's coming, man.
The Masters is almost here. By the time this comes out, it might actually be Masters weekend, the weekend we drop this. So
yeah, it will be. Yeah. Because isn't that in like 2 weeks?
It's in 2 weeks.
It's my favorite weekend in golf, dude.
Yeah.
It really is. I just sit in front of the TV that weekend. Okay.
We're going to have some mint juleps.
Oh, yeah.
Some pimento cheese sandwiches.
Yeah.
C4 can run it back after winning the Players. Did you watch that?
I did not.
It was awesome. He had to get an eagle to force a playoff. Got the eagle, forced the playoff, got the W. It was sweet.
And he hasn't won in a minute.
Yeah. The Players isn't a major, but it's a baby major.
I thought that was I thought the Players was a major.
Is it?
I thought that was.
You got the Open, the U.S. Open, the Masters, and the Championship. Those were the 4 majors. And then the Players is, at least I thought, kind of like the one step underneath.
Yeah.
But still,
either way,
regardless, it was awesome.
Yeah, because he hasn't won in a minute.
Yeah, it was super cool to see.
Yeah.
As everybody knows, United Indecision Church did a podcast on Stay in the Fight, a men's conference, a marriage conference with the wives, and we've been meaning to have them on this to talk about that because it was epic.
And that's all on them.
That
is all on them. We're still doing this, but dragging them in here and getting them in front of a camera for some reason.
It's pulling teeth. She's nervous about sitting in front of a cell phone camera, which she shouldn't be. But regardless, we attend Red Rocks, have for many years, loved them. The campus pastor for their Austin, Texas location. Red Rocks is really unique, you guys. So they have 4 locations in Denver. They have a location in Austin, Texas, and a location in Brussels, Belgium.
Yep.
And then they also do a God Behind Bars simulcast with both a men's and women's correctional facility.
I think they're in several.
I think they are too. So their reach is awesome. But their pastor that runs the Texas location,
which is the second guy, basically. There's Sean and then Doug.
I think Doug's probably the number 2.
Yeah.
James is probably the number 3. At least that's the feeling I get. But he did maybe the best. It's hard to say the best sermon.
Dude, I almost literally say it every single Sunday.
I know.
It literally, almost every Sunday, I'm like, bro, did you go to church yet?
Right.
Like, this one hit so hard because I feel like it is so relevant in the world that we live in today that I call Chad up and I'm like, hey, dude, we have to do an episode and just discuss that sermon. It was 2 weeks ago. And just...
What was the title of it? We're going to put the sermon link below.
We will. That way you can listen to us.
I'd love for you to watch it.
Hands down. That's, for sure. It was called Make a Decision. I look at my kids today. I look at young adults. I look at all the single people that I know out there when it comes to dating, when it comes to business, when it comes to kids and sport, all the different aspects of life. And when it comes to making a decision, I feel like we are in an epidemic of indecision. Is that the right word? Epidemic? Of indecision in the world we live in today, and for a couple of different reasons. It's crazy to me. Like this sermon literally was one of those ones that I walked away from. I've listened to it now. I listened to it right after I watched it, and then I would listen to it again this morning, literally before this, just so I could freshen up on it. And it's that one sermon that you want to share with every human being.
It doesn't matter if you're Christian, man, woman, teenager, kid. I'm going to make my kids watch it. It spans everything. So the big crux of it was exactly what you just said, is that I have an extremely hard time making decisions, and Christians specifically won't make decisions because we want God to make our decisions for us.
Right.
And he pretty much said, God does not act around your decisions. He acts through your decisions. You have free will to make whatever decision you want, and God's plan for you will come to fruition when you start making decisions in life.
So that's on the Christian side. So the Christian side, people like us, where you sit there and you fall on that God card that's well, I'm praying about it, but I really don't know, and if I make this decision, I don't want to mess up God's plan for me and whatever. And what you just said is exactly what it is. And I think so many people use it as kind of their crutch, their kind of their excuse to not make the decision and move forward. And I think the bigger thing is, Christian or non-Christian, and where we are today in the world we live in today, is the choices, the massive amounts of choices. I think I talked about, my hump day video, I talked about it. Like Doug said, it's like making a choice when it comes to most things today is literally like going to the Cheesecake Factory and trying to order food.
Right.
I mean, you got a menu, it's got 40 pages of everything that you could think of that looks absolutely amazing.
Shout out Cheese Factory.
You just can't make a decision.
Right.
It's like, God, what do I want to eat?
Do I want a burger? Do I want ribs? Do I want everything? And it can take you a half an hour to just figure out what you want to eat.
Yeah.
And that's before you even look at the cheesecake.
Right? Exactly. But the massive amounts of choices in everything that we do, whether it's, it's date night. What restaurant do you want to go eat at? It's like, hey, we want to take a vacation. What do you want to do? Well, I don't know. Let's look. And there's 1,000 different things to do. But I think one of the bigger things, and probably one of the bigger issues we have, I think today, is the amount of single people that we have in the world today, and how it's...
And Match and Tinder and all of these apps that allow you to just sit on your couch and scroll through the literal endless options. Because you're scrolling through all of those, it has created a culture where everybody is looking for the unicorn.
Yeah.
And not giving opportunity to... I mean, I'm so thankful that I didn't have to deal with the Tinder world. I don't know how much I believe in love at first sight, but I was smitten and knew that I wanted to be with this girl, and it made the decision super, super easy.
Right.
Whereas, people sitting on the couch while they're watching Netflix, which is a million different... How many times have you sat down to watch a Netflix show and you scroll for 30 minutes before you pick what you watch?
Just because of all the different choices, right?
Exactly. And then you add on top of it the relationship side of it. It can literally, paralysis by analysis, put you in a prison that you don't even realize that you're in.
Yeah. So I think one of the biggest problems that I see in marriage today too is, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that they look at their wife, and if it's not fun and it starts to get a little hard, which all relationships do, they just start to think, well, maybe there's something else out there for me. And
the grass is greener somewhere else.
Yeah, the grass is greener. And instead of focusing on it, automatically goes to, well, somebody could it could be one of my friends. And could say, well, Garrett's first relationship didn't work out. I mean, he's divorced, and look what he got. I mean, he got a Rachel.
Yeah.
I guess it's easy to fall into that trap instead of focusing on watering the grass that's under your feet. The reason I wanted to just have this conversation with you today about it is because I think that it is something that is so relevant in our world today, that an epidemic. I mean,
and one of the really big reasons why I wanted to talk about the podcast is a lot of what Doug said wasn't just once you were making the decision, but once you make the decision, commit to it and love it. And that's the title of our podcast, Burning the Ships. When Cortez decided to go to the New World, he burned his ships when he got there, so that was the only decision he had, was to move forward.
Right.
Ties right back into us. When Doug really honed in on the marriage side of it, a lot of marriages become rocky today, specifically to Christians. Did I screw up God's plan by marrying this person?
Right.
Was this the right person for me? And they're not committing to the decision that they have already made. They make the choice, but they, excuse my French, half-ass make it. They make it and they think maybe this wasn't the best option. And then, like you said, instead of watering the grass that you have, they start thinking the grass is greener on the other side. I'm a firm believer in watering the grass, but also the grass under your feet dies. Aren't active in your marriage anymore, or your business. Okay, you committed to becoming a real estate agent, becoming a lender, starting a painting business. Yeah. But you're not fully committed to it. You're not grinding every day. You're not seeking out new clients. You're not coming up with new prospecting strategies and implementing them, not just coming up with the idea.
Right.
The grass under your feet is going to die anyway.
Yeah, 100%.
So make that decision. but then commit to that decision. Doug has such a really unique way of bringing his own life experience to it. And he talked about taking his kid to Target to pick out a Lego set. Or maybe
no, it was Sean. It was when he couldn't make a decision whether he wanted to pick San Diego to plant the church or Austin. He went to Sean and seeked Sean's advice, which makes sure that you are seeking out the wise, not taking advice from your friends that honestly aren't where you want to be, and their life's a mess. And unfortunately, you find a lot of people, everybody's an expert, right? And it's so funny. I have people literally in my life that their life is a mess, but they'll like try to give me advice on something. And I'm just like, I don't take advice from I'm not going to be rude, but it goes in one ear and right out the other one.
You think before you don't be a jerk about it, but you take advice from people who are where you want to be.
Yeah. But going back to your analogy, go ahead and
so it was Sean. You're right.
Yeah.
So Doug was wondering, should I start a church in Austin or in San Diego? And he was actually leaning San Diego. But Sean said, when I take my kid to Target.
Toys R Us.
It was
Toys R Us.
Okay.
Toys R Us. In what aisle?
The Lego aisle, which is a huge happy place for my son, especially Landon. He is a Lego. Okay, you're between this one and this one, but you can't make a decision. Pretty much said, whichever one you pick, it's going to be awesome, but you need to pick it and love it. So whether you're picking and
don't look back.
Whether you're picking the F1 Lego set or you're picking Mario's castle, whatever, Bowser's castle, whichever one you pick, it's going to be great. You need to love that one. And Doug ended up picking Austin, and he loves it. And now he's a firm part of the Red Rocks family and incredible things. So
again, I even see with my kids, and I think it's only going to get worse over time, is the decisions. Like when I think about my son, like what does the dating world look like for him when he's 18 years old? There are going to be all these apps for local teenage girls that check all these boxes. They can never make a decision because, this one's hot and this one's hot. And, this one likes to do these things that I like to do. So maybe I'll call her up, or I don't even know if they meet face to face anymore. It seems like everybody, I'll text this girl or snap this girl or whatever. It's sad to me that there can never just be a decision. When I think about like Rachel and I was married for 7 years, that didn't work out, and definitely not getting into details on that. But nevertheless, I dated a girl for a while. I knew that wasn't going to be the long-term plan for me. And honestly, I'd almost decided that probably just going to be single the rest of my life. It was one of those things where I already had kids, I already been married, and I would, date a girl that, that checked all the boxes or whatever. But even me, and being a Christian, I just didn't know if I ever wanted to go down that road of marriage again. And then met my wife, not on a dating site, literally hired her because she's an interior designer, and there was the friendly flirting.
The most expensive project.
Buddy, that was the most expensive project and the best decision I ever made in my entire life, right?
Rachel is insane.
Thank God I didn't get on those sites, because there could have been people on those sites where I'd have been like, because anybody that knows me and my wife, like, we are not your normal couple. Like, we're just not physically, we are not your normal couple. I've always been attracted to smaller petite girls because I'm 5'6". Used to be 5'7", but I've shrunk an inch. Not a big guy. I've never been attracted to bigger girls or taller, which every girl seems taller than me nowadays. But nevertheless, and I know that she probably wasn't attracted to older, short, stocky dudes.
Wildly handsome.
Right?
Successful.
But whatever. But my point, if I was in those dating sites, we might not even be here today. But I wasn't.
Yeah, maybe not.
I wasn't. We started having a connection. We started doing fun things together. And when I made the choice, I just never looked back. I never thought, well, I wonder if there's other girls out there. I wonder if there's somebody better or whatever. It was just that commitment of, I'm going to go with it and see where it goes. And we're not the perfect couple by any stretch. I mean, she's got her demons. I've got my demons. We both go to therapy all the time. And this is just me being transparent. But the reality of it is our marriage is freaking bulletproof.
Yeah.
And it's because I don't think either one of us, there is no other option for us. Mm-hmm. Like for us, it is
the ships have been burned. You guys have no.
Yeah, they have been burned. That's it. Like we're the only two on the island. Period. You chose me. I chose you. I chose the good, the bad, the ugly, and I just don't think people think that way anymore. And it's sad to me because I mean I don't care what we go through. We're going to figure it out, and and it's because we're both on the same page, and we put God at the center, and we're both chasing a life and a relationship and a walk with Him, and a big believer that if He stays at the center, then the rest kind of works its way out anyway.
Doug also talked about when you make the decision, you have to have the right compass, the right direction. Mm-hmm. He used, again, Doug and his analogies are fantastic.
I love his
analogies. He's down in Austin, and he was like, well, if you want to wake up and go to the beach in Austin, you tell me the road.
I-35.
I-35. Yeah. But if you take it north, you're not going to end up at the beach.
You got to go south if you want to go to the beach. Yeah.
And the same thing goes for the decisions you make in life. You need to, again, like you said, have God at the center of it, because that is going to allow Him to work through you. If you start putting yourself for God, that's when the train goes off the tracks.
Yeah, things start to get a little messy at that point.
If He's not the conductor of your train, you don't know where you're going.
Yeah.
And you're going to end up in Dallas, and you're not going to end up at the beach. And that can expand to all of your life circumstance, where if you decide I'm going to make this choice, especially marriage, but also business or relocation or anything, if you make that choice and you go it alone, whether you're with your wife or not, but if God isn't that conductor of the train, then you might as well be, walking through the forest at night with your eyes closed, because your chances of getting to where you're trying to go drop dramatically.
Yeah. And even if that is the case, and you make that choice or you make that decision, own it, learn from it. Obviously, maybe it wasn't the smartest. Lord knows I've made a lot of stupid decisions in my life and a lot of bad choices, and I made a lot of good choices. Mm-hmm. And I think what has allowed me to make the smarter, better choices in my life is I did make those bad choices that I learned from, and they were lessons. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing that again. And that just comes with wisdom. And again, seek the wise. And what that means, and I think I know what he was saying is, make sure, again, we've said it 1,000 times, you are who you surround yourself with. Make sure that your circles are good. I mean, if you're that person that's a drug addict and you're trying to stop doing drugs, you can't hang out with a bunch of drug addicts that don't want to stop doing drugs.
Nope.
Right? You can't.
You need to get in NA meetings with people who have beaten the addiction.
Yeah.
And they can give you counsel and guidance, and that goes for everything.
Yeah, and business. You can't seek out. My wife and I were talking about it the other day, and I'm like, baby, you can't take advice from people that aren't where you are in your business. They have to at least be where you are. But if you're going to really seek advice that are where you want to be. I'm like, my whole life, I've been in this high-level coaching now for 15 years? I'm sorry, but I'm not going to take advice from somebody that's doing 3 loans a month. But I'll listen to and take advice from the dude doing 15 to 20 loans a month all day long.
Of course.
Even though that's where I used to be. But I'm just saying, that if he's doing it now, I'm going to go, hey, I need to get back there. Like, what are you doing?
If you're making the decision to go get healthy and go to the gym first time.
Yeah.
All due respect, the 450-pound guy who's sitting at home.
No, the one that you see at the bar that decided he was going to the gym, and he's grossly overweight, and he's got a drink in his hand, and he's eating crappy food, but he's trying to tell you what you need to do to.
Well, it's not. No. And the beautiful thing about today's world is you can get that advice even if you don't know the people. It used to be, before YouTube. I love YouTube, but I also hate it at the same time. Yeah. I love the fact that if I'm stuck, whether it be in faith, and this was really before I knew you, because now you have become my go-to source of.
Appreciate that. I have an ability with you because of our relationship to unstick you pretty fast.
Yeah. You know how to get me going. But if somebody's out there, and let's just stick with gym. If you don't know what to do to go to the gym and you're so overwhelmed, the gym has a million choices. Should I do the elliptical, the stairs? Should I walk on the treadmill? Should I walk on the treadmill backwards, which seems to be a fad now? Dude, I can't tell you how many times I go to the gym and like half of them are just walking backwards. I guess it burns more calories. I don't know.
Working backwards, it seems like it hits more of the front.
Maybe. Pushing yourself. Yeah, maybe. But anyway, how do I do a proper squat without hurting myself? Should I do weights before or after?
But should you wait before? Should you wait to know all that before you make the decision just to go to the gym?
Absolutely not.
Exactly.
Make the decision to go, but then educate yourself. You want to go to the gym? Go.
Walk on the treadmill for 10 minutes. Who cares?
Just do whatever you need to do. Yeah. But then when you're at home, instead of sitting and binge watching 55 episodes of whatever the hit new show is, take 20, 30 minutes. There's a billion fitness influencers. There's a billion business influencers. Make sure you're following ones that have the body you want, have created the business you want, have the marriage, at least on paper, at least claim that they have the marriage that you want. But there's so many good resources out there to be able to look at these things, sit down and get that wisdom from people who have done it. Yeah. It used to be you had to have the guts, and this obviously goes back to relationships too, but you have to have the guts to go up to somebody in the gym who looks like, an Olympia competitor and be like, hey, how do I, and that's good. I understand the fear there. The fear of rejection,
or just hire a trainer.
Hire a trainer.
Most gyms, they give you 2 or 3 training sessions for free anyway.
Yeah.
But again, like you said, YouTube.
But this goes to everything, not just the gym. That was just the one metaphor I was using. Mm-hmm. You're starting a lending business, but you're not in a position where you have somebody directly above you that you trust that you can talk to. You're on YouTube, clearly. There's hundreds of other ones. Pick one and get good wisdom from them. If your faith is struggling and you can't get to Red Rocks, and trust me, Red Rocks is amazing.
Best church you'll ever
go to. Their YouTube catalog will talk about, at this point, because it's been, 20 years they've been a church.
Yeah, you can
every sermon ever done is on YouTube, essentially.
Yeah.
If you're struggling with addiction, porn, marital issues, financial issues, the devil is just beating you down. It doesn't matter what category, you can find help without having to be there in person. So,
but it's making that decision.
I
really, and what was the thing that he talked about? A guy in the Bible that literally gave up his whole, but he basically said, halt. Do not make important decisions when you're hungry, angry, lonely, tired. That's what it was. And there was this guy in the Bible that I guess God says probably the worst decision ever made in the Bible, where this guy literally was hungry and tired and lonely, and he gave up everything he had, all his inheritance, everything he had for a bowl of soup. Yeah. Probably the worst decision ever made in theological history. So he talked about that. What's that?
It was a great decision for the other guy.
Right.
Sold a bowl of soup for all that.
For his fortune.
Yeah.
But the point there is, if you are super lonely or hungry or whatever, don't make a decision under that desperation, I guess.
Yeah.
If it's an important decision.
Don't make rash decisions.
Yeah.
You need to have the compass of which direction you're going. You need to really, really spend time in yourself and with your partner in these decisions. Don't just jump to them. Kylie and I are thinking about making a very big decision, but we're not jumping to it.
Right.
We're talking about it. We're planning for it. But it's a pretty steadfast decision that we've now made and are planning for it. So make the decision, talk to your partner, seek wisdom. Once you make your decision, commit to it.
Yeah.
And
seek wisdom from God. Like a lot of people, I love what Doug said when he goes, those are the prayers that God really wants.
Mm-hmm.
Like going back to Solomon. Solomon was always praying to God, give me the wisdom to make the right choices.
The wisest man that ever lived.
And
look prayed for wisdom. God could have granted him riches or strength, the perfect physique or anything else. And he asked for wisdom.
Yeah.
And because of that, he gained everything. So wisdom cannot go overstated about how important.
And it's funny, since that service, I find myself literally praying every day for God to give me the wisdom to execute my day the way it should be and whatnot. So it's you gotta ask, right? And seek good counsel. Don't make rash decisions. Going back to, I think that it's probably one of the biggest things that I see right now is, again, going back to these relationships. I mean, what do you think? Like, what's some advice you would give the young single person out there right now that's addicted to dating sites and
delete them as quickly as you can?
What's that?
I would delete them as quickly as I could.
Yeah.
Or if I was using them, I would be very tactful in it. I wouldn't sit there scrolling for hours and hours and hours. I wouldn't be using it to just find a hookup, because that is so empty and short. It's not going to fill what you're seeking. I would say, if I was talking to 24-year-old Chad before I met Kylie in a bar. I did have a relationship with her prior. Our families go way, way, way back, and had gone camping and stuff when we were kids. And my parents got divorced. Her parents stayed together, so we stopped seeing each other, which was a huge blessing, because we probably would have grown up brother and sister.
Right.
Instead, we didn't see each other for a decade and a half, maybe a little bit more, but we had that relationship already. But I would go back and talk to Chad and say, go find a girl in the church. If you're watching this, find a great local church. I understand that people all over the world see this, so it's not just Colorado. Tell them to go to Red Rocks if they're living in Minneapolis. But find that good. I feel like every city has a good personable.
There's a lot of people, a lot of single people out there, a lot of younger single people out there seeking God these days.
It's become
yeah. And I'm not saying go to church to find a girlfriend. No, like don't find yourself in that arena where you're just going just to find a.
Go for God. Yes. But keep your eyes open while you're there. I would also tell them to be more active in the community. Get out of your house. Mm-hmm. I think COVID is still living a little bit, and society hasn't broken that chain yet. Yeah, where we spend way more time inside the four walls of our home than we used to. Yeah, get out to the park, get involved in intramural sports, join groups, clubs. Yeah,
you name it. I mean,
just get out.
Yeah. But even that, I mean, get out, go to bars with friends, whatever. Yeah. Friends know other friends that know friends. Exactly. And there's...
Get out of the way social. Take it back to the way it was before.
What did he say on Hinge?
I mean, women are going to appreciate the hell out of it. I think women only get approached today for sex. That's it. So if you approach a woman and you have a genuine want to get to know her, you ask deep, real questions.
Yeah.
Treat her like a gentleman. Yes, it is scary, especially if you've been living in the Tinder world where, okay, I got rejected because she swiped the other way. That doesn't hurt, right? I might for a second, but getting told no face to face, that can hit your ego. But get over it and treat them like respect. Be intentional with them. And I think you'll be surprised at how much women today will appreciate it, because guys like us who weren't really scared of and still aren't scared to go talk to people, it's our job, kind of gone by the wayside. If you can learn that skill to be able to approach and talk and be genuine.
And do things. That was, I think, what really cemented mine and Rachel's relationship was get on the back of my motorcycle, ride a motorcycle with me. She loved to go shoot. We would go shoot together. We played golf. We played a lot of golf together that first summer.
Getting out being active.
Yeah, we was always doing stuff together. Yeah. And that was what just really I think was the glue. Right? But going back to, what did he say, Hinge? 23 million?
Yeah.
23 million people on Hinge?
I think that probably dwarfs Tinder.
Tinder's got to be like
100 million.
Yeah, that's just crazy. Yeah. Looking for perfection. And I don't know about you, I'm not perfect, so I ain't ever looking for some perfect chick.
And like the CEO said, everybody is stuck in this space of trying to find the unicorn, the perfect person. Here to tell you, the perfect person. I'm not perfect. I am so far from perfect. It's not even funny.
Well, and even like, and I think so many people out there want to be that perfect couple. They want to, if you're a girl and you're 5'9", you want the dude that's 6'4" and all that, which I'm saying, like, it's all that, pretty girl, pretty guy, blonde-headed girl, blonde-headed dude, just whatever. And I just crack up. I mean, because Rachel and I, we're the most oddball couple on the planet.
You think you may think you are, because when she's in a
5'9", with her heels on, it's like heels on,
Get out of your head with that, man.
No, but it doesn't bother me. That's the thing. It doesn't. I actually find it kind of comical, really. And, and she's beautiful and 20 years younger and all that stuff. And when we walk into a restaurant or something in Parker, most people know us anyway. But if we go to if we were to walk into Shanahan's or something like that, we would probably get a lot of the looks and the stink eye. But
you wouldn't get the stink eye. You get the dang, that's a good looking couple. You both are good looking.
It's funny. But nevertheless, that's not what's important to us, right? What's important to us is our connection.
Yeah.
And it's not what other people think and how they view us and what they think about us and all that stuff. It has nothing to do with that.
Yeah.
And I think so many people make decisions literally based on what other people are going to think all the time. I don't know if it's just come with age with me. I mean, I really don't care. I'm not going to make stupid decisions anymore because I just don't. I just don't care. I don't care what other people think. They don't have to walk in my shoes.
I've never been, and maybe Kylie would disagree with me a little bit, but peer pressure, peer opinion never mattered to me.
Yeah.
Not in high school, being at parties and there'd be people smoking weed or something. I never did.
Yeah.
I'd been asked hundreds of times and I just said, no, I'm good. And if they gave me crap about it or whatever, I wouldn't care. Or there was, everybody running up their number. That wasn't me. Never has been. Never will be. I've never really given a rip what other people think about me. Now I do in a professional sense. Mm-hmm. And what I care most about what other people think about me is, am I a good husband and am I a good father?
Right. I'm with your clients. Am I doing a good job for you? Are you happy?
I care about those things.
You care.
But people's outside view of my life,
people that don't know you,
couldn't give a rip less.
Yeah. And if you're watching this, you should feel the same way. I mean, we're saying this because this is how you should feel. If you do care, stop.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
it's not going to help.
Care about the people that mean something to you, what their opinion of you is, if it's, justified, but
you will never be able to satisfy the people on the outside looking at your life.
Yeah. And they don't even know you, so who cares?
And you can look at the most powerful people on the earth and they get scrutinized more than we do. And Tom Brady's won 7 Super Bowls. He gets torn up all the time. I'm not even going to open the door of presidencies because, their job is being scrutinized. But it doesn't matter who you are, what your successes are, or anything. People are always going to have their opinion about it. And they're always going to have a bad opinion about it because envy. They're envious of what you've done, what you've created, who you are.
Yep.
But know who you are and stand on your values and make a decision.
Yeah. Make a decision.
I don't want to stop you because one of Doug's analogies or metaphors or what have you, he brought up one of my favorite movie series of all time because I'm a 90s baby. And that was The Mighty Ducks. And he said I think it was D3, Coach Gordon Bombay, was giving a speech to his team. And he said, hey, when you don't have the puck, don't play scared. Don't play reckless, but don't play scared. And that goes back to what you were just talking about. You can't make decisions with fear, and you can't be scared of the decision you're making. When you make the decision, believe in that decision, keep God at the center of it, make sure you're aligned with your values, make sure you're aligned with your partner, but make the decision, love it, don't be fearful, and full send. Go for that decision. Make the move, quit the job, have the baby, whatever that decision is, make it and love it. And you'll be surprised at how well those decisions turned out. And even if they don't turn out, if it wasn't meant to be, guess what? You just learned a lesson.
You learned a lesson. And what I will say is what you just said, make sure it's aligned with your value. Like, make sure that the decisions you make, as long as they're aligning with your character, your value, your purpose, who you are, who you want to be, and you're making decisions based on who that person is that you want to be, it can't be bad.
Mm-hmm.
It might not be great. It might not be, you could have maybe done something a little different. And again, you will learn from that decision, but it's not going to be bad. I promise you, if you make a decision when you're hungry, angry, lonely, or tired, and you're making a decision that does not align with your character or your purpose or who you are or who you want to be, I can almost guarantee you that's going to be a poor decision.
Not only that, when you make decisions like that, if they fail, you're not going to get a good lesson out of it either, because you shouldn't have been doing it from the first.
Right. It just doesn't even align.
It just doesn't. Whereas if you're making a decision with wisdom, like we said, not making it out of fear, making it in line with your value, and if that decision doesn't work out, I guarantee you 10 years down the road, when you turn around and look at that decision that didn't work out, you're going to be able to point to a dozen different lessons you learned from that hooked your next decision.
Right. And that next decision was probably just some little minor tweaks.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't like 10 years from now, you're looking at that going, yeah, I have no idea who that guy was that made that decision.
Right.
Like, that was just the most idiotic thing I've ever done in my life.
Right.
And I've had those.
Oh,
I've made those, right? I mean, for sure. I mean, I've made those in my life where I've looked back and went, what were you thinking?
Marketing decisions, fitness decisions, relationals, the big one, relational decisions that didn't work out. But guess what? All of those things align with my values. Maybe didn't work out, but they've taught me the lessons to build me into the man that I am today. And my decisions now come with more wisdom.
Yeah. So seek wise counsel. Ask God for wisdom. Don't make decisions based on fear or hunger or loneliness or if you're angry, things like that.
When you make a decision, commit to it. Burn the ships.
Just commit.
Commit.
You know, it was funny when I was single before I met Rachel, one of my buddies convinced me to get on, and I got on for about a week and literally was like, this is stupid.
This is a joke.
Yeah. It was like, I don't have time to run around meeting these people. Like, God's going to put a person in my life, however he does it. I'm just going to go on mine.
Like I said, you and me are old school, man. We like being face-to-face with people. I like genuine connection. I like talking. There's too many nuances and things you miss when you're texting. Yeah. You don't get 90% of communication is nonverbal. So you don't get to see reactions or genuine connections. So try to do that. And subscribe to our podcast. But I would highly advise you to subscribe to Red Rocks as well.
Yeah.
Every single week they have a new amazing sermon. You know, James and Sean and Uncle Jim, when he comes on and does his guest spots. And the wives, they get on too. I've never been disappointed with a sermon I've heard there. Even when I've struggled with my faith, it's always been just there and amazing, and their music is spectacular, like spectacular. Their production value is amazing. So this isn't some weird mega church that is in it for the dollars. Their slogan is literally, we want to make heaven more crowded.
For sure.
And I've been attending there now for the better part of a decade. And I can tell you that they're just genuine good people, and they're not looking to get more dollars in the bank account to buy a bigger freaking mansion like some of the TV evangelicals. That's a different topic.
Yeah. But watch this sermon. We are going to put it in.
Yeah, we'll put a link down in the description.
Put a link in the description.
I'll throw it in the comments.
Yeah. And do us a favor. And if you do watch the sermon, bounce back and let us know what you thought. And let us know what you think about this. I mean, we need more people to actually interact with us on these. You know, we're getting a lot of subscribers for, I think, as few of these episodes that we have. I mean, I'm very pleased with the amount of people that are actually watching and whatnot.
I appreciate you guys.
But please,
knuckle heads up in a conversation.
But subscribe and interact with us. We love that.
Make that decision, guys.
One of the smartest decisions I made last year was you and I doing this. When you said let's do it, I was like, okay, let's do it.
Like we've said 100 times, even if it just amounts to you and me sitting in your badass living room and talking to each other. This is it's good for my soul. So
I love you, man. All right, man. Take care. See you guys.